Before we start actually creating any models here in Maya, let's take a look at how we can set up reference images or image planes here in Maya to use as a guide. So we have our 3D view, and if we hit the space bar, you can see that we have now our top view, our front view, and our side view. And all of these views come in handy when we're building our models because we can see them from different angles. But we can also use these views to import images to use as guides when we're modeling. So if we're modeling something from some sort of a plan or we're trying to match something, we can use images in the background to model to. So let's look at how we can load those up. So we need to actually have the images, and you can find those with your project files, and we'll see where those are in a second. We can go into each one of these views. So let's say we'll go into the top view first, and we can go into view all the way down here, and these images are going to be called image planes. So we'll click on image plane. You can see that this is grayed out, so we don't currently have an image plane, but we can import an image or a movie. So let's go ahead and say import image. So it's going to bring up our dialog, and we can navigate to our project files. In the modeling project, under source images, we'll find several images here, and this is the top view, so we're going to use plain top, and you can get a preview over here on the right hand side of what that's going to look like. And we can go ahead and bring that in. And now you can see that that image has been loaded up in our top view. Let's go ahead and do the same thing from the front and the side. So we'll go to View, Image Plane, Import Image, and then this time we'll select the front image. And we'll do the same thing over here on the side. Select the plain side image, and we'll load it up. And you can see those image planes actually loaded up into our perspective view as well. All three of those images. Now we can change the size of these images. So you can see we can come in here and access our image plane attributes. These are also attached to the particular camera. So if I go into Window Outliner, I can select the camera. I can also go in here onto Camera Attribute Editor and open that up for whatever viewport I'm looking at. So there are several ways to get to our image plane. And you can see that we have an image plane shape and an image plane 1 tab. So under the image plane shape tab, you can see coming up here, it gives you some options for the actual image, tells you where that image is. And then if we kind of scroll down, you'll see the placement options. And here we have image center and then width and height. And I'm actually going to change the size of our reference images, which we can do here. So I'm going to go ahead and increase that to 450. And you can see how that's much bigger now. Let's do the same thing here on all of these. And they should all still match up, but they'll just be a little bit larger. Coming in here. Okay. So we have these scaled up now, but you can see that they're all sitting right here in the center, which it doesn't really work for us when we're building our model. If we want to look at it here in the perspective, we want these to be kind of out of the way a little bit. So we can actually move these as well. Okay, so looking at our front view, we actually want to move it back in the Z direction. Okay, so looking at our axis here, so we can come in here, go into our attribute editor, and this is X, Y, and Z. So here under the Z, I'm going to go ahead and put in minus 100. So you can see that popped it back a little ways. So I'm going to go ahead and say minus 500 to just kind of get it a little bit more out of the way. Let's actually make that 400. Okay, let's do the same thing with the side. We want it to go back in the negative X by looking at this axis. We can tell that. So under the side view, we'll go into our camera attribute editor. And under X, we'll go negative 400 here. And then the top view, we want to actually push down a little bit. And so we'll go ahead, jump in here, and it's in the Y, and we'll push it down. So now you can see that our image planes are out of the way so that we can actually build our model in here, even though the images themselves have not moved relative to where we are here. And I can go ahead and turn off the grid. Under show, I can turn off that grid. Okay. And then we can zoom in and out of that. Okay. We can also take our camera and sort of move it up and out of the way. Okay, see these little icons are our cameras. So I'm going to just kind of move these back out of the way a little bit. So if we have a model in there, we can see it if we want to. Okay. Now you can always come in here in your perspective and turn off cameras, and then you still have your image planes in your side, front, and top view, but you don't have those in your perspective. Okay, so that's a quick look at adding reference images or image planes to our viewports in Maya. So now that we have our reference images in, we can actually start building some geometry. So in the next lesson, we'll take a look at how we can use some simple curves to create geometry.